to give you an idea, guys, I'm in Scotland in my mum's home,
yes,
where I was brought up. I've been here 5 weeks. I've got involved in the lockdown because I've been travelling once a week from Atkinson.
Yes,
My mum's had treatment at Aberdeen Hospital, so for 6 months I've been up once a week to she's in her 80s, so but she's good, she's great. I think she's at the front at the minute clapping her hands off, so I don't know where she is. She knows to keep quiet, sort of thing.
Oh, bless her.
So I've been travelling up and down, and I've just got involved in the lockdown. And although I've got 4 children, I've got my youngest, he's at St Johnstone, he plays for St Johnstone. And my partner, the best idea was everybody said, listen, stay where you are. So this is why I've got the pictures in the background, because I've got the pictures through the house sort of thing, but I'm in the dining room at the minute. But, you guys good, yeah?
Yeah, no, we're all
brilliant.
All keeping safe. Hey, listen, if you can't go to your mum's house without seeing pictures of your past glories on the wall, then is it really your mum's house?
Yeah, yeah, no.
Very true. Yeah, we've had loads of questions come in, Colin, and you know what? Yeah. I'm really disappointed. There's only one about 1996, so I'll get onto that one at the end if that's okay. I bet you've heard that a few times.
Just a wee bit, and I can tell you.
We'll move on.
I can tell you something before you go any. Right, carry on.
We'll move on quickly, pal. But no, listen. I've got a very brief story to talk to you about, Colin. I'll be very quick about this. I started playing football when I was 9 or 10 for my junior team. And I was a tall lad. I was the tallest in the class and one of the tallest in the school. So rightly, I was either in net or a defender. So at 10 years old, City signed this Scottish player that, you know, City didn't have any Scottish players. I think we very rarely had any overseas players at this time. So even someone from Scotland, in Mr. Colin Hendry, came in as this defender. And you might recognise the shirt behind.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
As either the defender, so I had the shirt, or the goalkeeper, Tony Coton. So I'm sure you recognise Tony Coton as well. So yeah, that's so to have you on here, pal, is an absolute. It's a 10-year-old's dream, a young Tom's 10-year-old dream, pal, but a 30, 37, 38-year-old Tom's dream to see you as well, buddy. So thanks for spending the time. I hope you feel it's appreciated.
No problem.
Good man. So I'll move on from my my pruning for a moment. Your derby for your debut for us didn't start off too well, did it? Even though you got man of the match for us. Was that the 18th of November in '89 against Nottingham Forest? We lost 3-0. Is that right?
Yeah. Who played up top for Forest? He went to Sheffield Wednesday. What was his name? Lee Chapman.
Oh yeah.
Lee Chapman, I think. That was my debut, yeah. And the sad thing about it was that I should have signed for City long before when I did sign for City, because I missed the 5-1 drubbing of the noisy neighbours. Oh. So the 5-1, I should have been involved in that, but I didn't get the opportunity to be involved in it because I didn't sign for City in time. And then when Don Mackay was manager at Blackburn, he decided to leave me out the team, the Blackburn team, for 2 or 3 weeks because he kept saying your head's not right. And I've gone, well, you've agreed 750 grand for me to go to City, and we've agreed everything. But there was an issue with the deal. The deal fell down, not on me, but on something else. But I got punished for it, so I missed the opportunity to play in the 5-1 drubbing of the noisy neighbours.
You didn't do too badly in your career, did you? But that must have been a bit of a gutting for you. Was that a year before then? That
wasn't long before it. Because I then obviously I scored in the 3-3 and in that game, but I was disappointed because I'd done all right at Blackburn and I'd gone up the level, if you will. And then to go into the then first division, to massive club, City, massive club for me, and then really it not happen in time. I was disappointed with that, but then when I did get there in the end, I felt that I enjoyed every minute, every minute of being at Man City. There wasn't 1 minute, even when in the end I was only on the bench and really would say to me, well, you might have to play up top, score a goal, which I did. Come off the bench and score goals. But I was going to be a centre half because the development that I came through when I was at Man City, under Howard Kendall especially, was where I kicked on to the next level as a central defender. So although I'd done well at Blackburn, and there was 3 teams in for me at the time when City wanted to sign me. There was Chelsea, Ken Bates, Bobby Campbell was the manager at Chelsea at the time. Mel Matron obviously at City, and then there was David Pleat, who was at Luton Town, I think at the time. So I think it was at the time, but City was my only choice. I didn't want to go. I mean, who the fucking hell would want to go to London? Who would want to go and sign go to London? I mean, fucking hell. And then Bobby Campbell and Ken Bates were pleading poverty to me about you'll get yourself, you'll be able to rent yourself a 2-bedroom apartment. And I've got me and the missus and we're a kid on the way and another kid coming. And I'm thinking, no, it just doesn't sound right at all. But I didn't get to City quick enough, if I'm being honest. But in the period I did, the 2 years I had there was so crucial to my career. And even now, I mean, I go back quite a bit. I see Kevin Parker and Gary Owen quite a bit. I see a few Peter Barnes, Bobby Brett. I do a little bit. I don't do anything in the lounge on a regular basis, but I go to a game and have a bit of food and chat to people, and it's nice. But the City's always been underestimated to me anyway, and not only because there's been a bit of money pumped in. I mean, everybody's got loads of money pumped in, but none of them are successful. And this is the difference between City and, listen, the fans are second to none, absolutely second to none.
How did you find the fans when you joined?
Oh, unbelievable, just incredible. I think if I'm being honest as well, you've got to show a certain work ethic as far as, if you don't get a result, at least try, work your bollocks off, if I can say that, if I can swear. I don't know if you swear.
You can do what you want, pal.
If you work your bollocks off, and they recognise it, and that's what they did. They recognised that, and I came as Mel Matron's last signing. I think he only lasted about 10 days after I'd signed, and I developed under Howard. And crikey, every week we played, I felt super confident. And we played in a 3. There was Alan Harper, Stevie Redmond, and myself. I mean, the fullbacks, you had Neil Poynton at left back, you had Andy Hinchcliffe at one point at left back, right wing back, you had Bobby Brightwell. But that period for me, that 2 years, and just before the end, when Reedy decided he was going to sign Keith Curl and get a bit of pace in there, which I understood. You wanted to go at 2 at the back instead of the 3. I understood that, but of course 3 into 2 doesn't go. And it just so happened that Blackburn wanted to come back in for me. But the whole time I was there, just unbelievable. Just 2. I mean, if you could just wrap 2 seasons into what was the best 2 seasons for you at a football club, then there wasn't one disappointing period at all, apart from leaving. That's
a really glowing reference for City, and we've asked a few questions. So when the subject comes up, I'll kind of nip in if that's okay, and finish the rest of the questions before you finish. Go on, sorry, Dan.
I was going to say that is an absolute fantastic reference for the club, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's just brilliant. I'm just speechless, to be honest.
No, I do after dinner speaking, I do Q&As and everything else. And when I get asked about City, and I've done a lot of work with John Gwynn. Gwynn is a big City fan, and he does the darts, and he does watch the Sky Sports sometimes on Saturdays and stuff. And he does a lot of dinners as well as, and everybody I speak to, they get the same story. It's not because I thought I'll be positive and throw a spin. Listen, I played for other football clubs. I didn't like it. I did not like it. and they know who they are, sort of thing. But honestly, if I was quite happy to sit on the bench for Reedy. And don't get me wrong, me and Reedy, we've met so many times since then. We're good friends, longer in the tooth, obviously. But the 2 years I had at City, and a long story cut short, I've got one of my children's godparents, Fergal Tierney, who's in the banking business in London. He came up to me after a game at Main Road, and I'm just leaving in my car, and he tapped in the window, and I brought the window down, and he gave me a bottle of champagne. I said, "Oh, what's that?" He said, "Well, you were my man of the match today." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks very much." He said, "Oh, bloody hell." So, what's your name? Fergal. Oh, Fergal, all the best. Window up, home, won the game, a few beers, prepare for the next game. We were at Palace the week after. I was coming out the bus. Lo and behold, Fergal, hey, he said, "Have you got a ticket?" He said, "No." I said, "Here, my tickets. Crystal Palace away. Who wants my tickets?" Coming from Scotland, obviously. One of my best mates ever since.
Amazing.
He's godfather of my parents. I'm godfather of his parents, his kids. It's a story that, and you know, he got very, very close to my late wife, Denise, and his father was a doctor in the police in Manchester. And things like that develop from just playing at a football club.
Yeah.
But it's a story that I don't tell the story very often because Fergus gets a wee bit embarrassed about it. But I've had 30 years nearly of a friendship because of signing for Man City.
Well worth it. That's kind of signing on for you. We could all be happy with it.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned about you talked a bit about Reed. There's a bit of between some of the City questions that are coming in. It almost seems to be there was a bit of animosity between you and Reed to why you left. What happened there? Was that just a case of you just didn't see eye to eye, or he wanted just a different type of? Obviously, he signed Curl. What
yeah, I mean, he signed Keith Curl for £2 million. He wanted a bit of pace. He wasn't going to leave Redo out of the team. He wasn't going to leave any of the FA Youth Cup winning players out of the team, really. And he just wanted to play a two at the back. And I think when you leave a football club, and I left Blackburn under a nice cloud.
Yeah.
To go to City. I left Dundee to go to Blackburn. Not a nice cloud. I left Rangers, not a nice cloud. I got freed from Bolton, end of my career, not a nice cloud. And I left Blackburn to go to Rangers with Roy Hodgson, not a nice cloud. But the thing about it was City, it wasn't about the manager. That's what disappointed me, was because I'd been treated so well in the time that I'd been at Man City. So that really was the key for me. But really, I mean, I've seen Reedy so many times since. The first time I seen him after he sold me back to Blackburn in '91, I did Sky Sports, Bolton against Manchester United at Bundon Park. And I was in the studio, makeshift studio, with Reedy. So when I walked in, the first thing he said, "The biggest mistake in my life." And he still stands by it, Fred. Nickname Fred. Yeah, he still stands by it.
He's written a book recently, and somebody called Andy Peter Dewitt's book. I've just read Peter Reed's book, and he actually admits selling Hendry was a mistake. So it's funny you say that, isn't it? That it's in the book as well. So he obviously stands by that, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, Fred, he's true to his word. And he said, and listen, but when I went back to Blackburn, obviously I went on to better things, and that'll never be repeated, I wouldn't think. But it's you know, it's what you've got to do.
No, what's it like to have more Premier League winning medals than Gerrard?
Yes, Stevie. I mean, he's in my corner at the minute, obviously, because he's a Rangers manager, Rangers coach. But listen, I don't know what's going to happen this season with what's going on in the world, the pandemic and everything else. But I really do think they should finish the season and see it through. You know, it's like Scotland. In Scotland, and there's leagues. There's a league in Scotland just been finalised. The junior league, one of the junior leagues. The team that's third have been appointed champions. They're third. They're 12 points off top with 9 games in hand. They played 16 games, Auchinleck Talbot. They've been awarded the league.
Just because the games.
Now, being Scottish, living in England, this is the problem. What I've got with being Scottish, living in England, because people say to me, "What about the Scottish game? How bad is it?" And I can't defend it. I cannot defend it. But no, listen. The league has to be finished, in as far as I'm concerned, you know, more than likely, and they're gonna. Liverpool would win it.
Yeah.
But if the powers that be decide to do something else, then everybody's going to go that because they make the decision.
Absolutely. So you started life off as a striker, I believe.
I started as a striker, yeah. I, as a kid, I mean, you're talking about before about being a centre half and being a goalkeeper because you were tallest. Well, as a kid, I used to play up top, play at the back, play in goal if it need be. If there's penalty kicks against us, I'd end up going in the goal. But I always had an eye for goal. So when I started as a kid for my local junior team, Isle of Vale, and Highland League team, Keith, I was a striker. And then I signed for my first football club, Dundee, as a striker. And then it was in that period, Archinox, Jockey Scott, they decided that try centre back. We're not so sure if you're going to be a striker, sort of thing. I played centre back a few times, and then Don Mackay left, gone to Blackburn, and then Don signed me in 1987 as a centre half. But he said to me as well as that, listen, you might have to play up top now and again, is in an emergency. And that's what I did. So I was always capable of scoring a few goals. I always had an eye for goal. But I think deep down I knew myself that my permanent position was always going to be as a centre-back.
From your time with City, obviously you score, how many Dan, do you know how many scores? Was it 3? 3 goals altogether?
I think it was 5 in total, including cup competitions.
5 goals I scored, was it? Was that all?
Yeah, and you bang on. One of the best ones I've seen with the 3-3 draw with United. That was a proper finish.
Yeah, well, see that goal, for example, that was my Gaza-esque goal because I started just over the halfway line and I flick it over Neil Webb and catch it on the other side, play my 1-2 with Quinney. I drew out, Brucey got too tight to Big Pally, and I've just got it to the side and I stuck it past my ex-Scotland teammate, Jim Layton. So it was very, very, I mean, fantastic to score a goal like that. You know.
I bet the players were on you after that then.
Yeah.
So coming on to one of our, we're going to have somebody else on tonight, Dave, who's one of our admins, City Dave, but he's not 100%, bless him, but he's asked a couple of questions, if that's okay. And he's an older school blue, either than me. And he
a lot older.
I wanted to ask the question, when you take a look back at the team we had, the likes of Lake, Hughes, Brightwell, White, Hinchcliffe, obviously all homegrown players.
Yeah.
And later on, Lomas and Sheeran broke through as well. You know, could you see the homegrown players really gelling, and that cup team that you mentioned going on to greater things? How did you fit into that team and that dynamic? What was the team like to be in?
Well, Howard, it was mainly Howard, you know, and Howard brought in a lot of ex-Everton players as well as having come back from Bilbao. But it was good that you had, I mean, I wasn't much older than them, to be fair. I think I was about 23, was it 23, 24, something like that? Maybe around about that age, I think, if I recall correctly. 91, 25, 25 maybe, 25, yeah, 24, 25. So I was just a little bit older than them. I think they would have been about 20, 21, 22, something like that. Yeah. So having that couple of years extra and having had experience at Blackburn in this old second division, coming from the lower depths of the Division 2 to making the playoffs a couple of times for Blackburn as well, it stood me in good stead experience-wise. But no, you could. I mean, that's a really, really good set of players, and you know, when I can understand as well as to why Howard or Reedy would want to continue with the youth team players, the FA Cup winning youth team players, and then bring in other players in and around them to make it a force. And I don't think, I mean, all right, Neil Poynton came in the back of Andy Hinchcliffe, but Stevie Redmond remained, and Ian Brightwell, thoroughbred, he remained. David Whitey was unbelievable. Paul Molden, I think he was in that group as well, but I think he'd maybe just gone to the side a little bit. So I think to be fair, I fitted in, and I progressed as well within that group. And as I said right at the start of the show, guys, that I would never have changed anything about my period at Manchester City.
It's so nice to hear that. What's your obviously the thing that bugs most City fans of that era is Paul Lake and his knee.
Yeah.
What was it like to play with him? What was he like as a player?
Well, can you hold on just one sec?
Yeah,
I'm just to the side here.
Yeah, no, it's not. Take time.
I've got to say, what a guy.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine.
No, what it was, Lakey, I've got in my all-time 11, Paul Lake's the player I played alongside as the centre-back, but I named myself and I named Gudny Bergson, and the two centre-backs, Gudny Bergson and Paul Lake. And Paul Lake was my captain.
Was he really?
So,
right.
Yeah. So that are the all-time 11 players I played with. Paul Lake was my captain, and I played that night. I think it was against Villa. I think it was he's gone up. He's called for the ball. I'm playing alongside. I'm playing in the two. He's gone up for the header, and he's gone up. And as he's landed, his knee's gone underneath him. But as players go, if he'd kept even 80-90% of his fitness, because there's a lot of players, even latterly, even in modern day football, have done their ACL 2 or 3 times and they're still able to play, sort of thing. But if he at least kept 80 or 90% of his fitness, he would have captained England. He would have went on. He would have went on and been everything as good as. And it's hypothetical because we're not going to find it. We're not going to find it. But he was as good as a central defender that I can imagine being. And you know, you can talk about Van Dijk, you can talk about John Terry, you can talk about Tony Adams, you can talk. But for me, I just thought he was in that bracket, and it was just so disappointing and sad that what happened to him. And the injury he sustained in the night I played with him, he just went off, his knee went from underneath him, and that was it, sort of thing.
So were you playing that game then?
Yes, I played that game. I think it was against Villa.
I'm not 100% sure, to be
I
honest.
think it was against Villa, but
so just, I don't want to take any polish off Paul, but from I know this is a proper cliche question, but who are the top players that you played with?
Alan Shearer, obviously. Alan Shearer. Robbie Keane would have been his partner.
Yeah.
Fullbacks, Henning Berg, Graham Lasso. You know, international players. Berg was 7, 8 out of 10 every game.
Consistent. Mr.
Consistency every game. Lasso was very much the same. Then you've Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, when I played at Rangers. He leaves there to go to Barcelona and Arsenal and win Premiership and Champions League stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the people, that's the players that. And Gary McAllister, of course. Gary was probably the best all-round player that I played with. And the reason, and I even say that in public speaking, the reason I say that is that at the age of 33, having had won the First Division, the old First Division with Leeds United, he goes to Liverpool and wins a treble in one season. He wins the League Cup, the FA Cup, and the European Trophy at the age of 33, and became a bit of a catalyst for Liverpool and their resurgence in and around that time. But Gary Mack was the best all-round player, and as a captain as well, because he wouldn't ask you to do anything that he couldn't do himself.
It's funny this, because that question naturally brings on to best player. Who is the best coach? Because obviously Howard Kendall did sign you, didn't he, for City? That's right, isn't it?
Howard
Kendall.
No, Mel Machin signed me.
Mel Machin, right? Okay.
Mel Machin signed me. It lasted about 10 days, I think.
Right.
Well, Bernard. This is where my good late friend Bernard Halford. Because I've in the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I did a lot with Bernard with Legends games, and we went to the Borders to see a football club and played a game there who were struggling for a bit of cash, and Bernard had kept contact with him. But I was telling the lads stories in the little minibus coming up from Manchester to the Borders in Scotland, and Bernard must have told, no, you're wrong, that's the date, that's not the date, it's this date, not that date. And I'm going, bloody hell, Bernard, what a fucking memory you've got, by the way. He knew every date and everything that was going on. But no, Bernard was very, very good at that, to be fair.
Who was your best boss then? Who was the best gaffer you ever had?
In my career?
Yeah.
Ooh, goodness me. Well, probably the best, and he's not even a domestic manager, would be Craig Brown, my Scotland manager.
Okay.
I still see Craig now. He's only 80 years young, nearly. I was with him about 5 weeks ago. We did a dinner on Aberdeen.
Craig Brown, did you say that?
He's nearly, he's 80.
Really?
He's just about to Craig, and he's a lovely man, but he knew his stuff as well. You know, as a coach, and the times 96, which I'm sure you're going to speak about, 96 and World Cup 98.
Talking about.
You know. And it's, you know, as a Scotsman, it's 22 years now that we've not qualified for anything. What's happened to the Scottish football, you know? But no, Craig was the top man. And then domestically, well, I played under some. I mean, you're talking about Howard Kendall. You've got Kenny Dalglish, Roy Hodgson, Dick Advocat. He's aptly named. Sam Allardyce. Just get that one, did you, boys? Sam Allardyce. No, I played under some good managers, and some good coaches, because some of the coaches are coaches, whereas actually some of the managers are managers and they're not coaches. And one example, for example, was Kenny Dalglish. Kenny was my idol as a kid. I grew up watching him. And I ended up playing for him. He was my manager at Blackburn, but he wasn't a coach. And Kenny's first to say that. You know, he said, "No, that's not my game. I want to be the figurehead. I want to be the manager." And a little bit like Fergie in his latter days, Alex Ferguson, because he had other people to do the coaching. He would just tell him how to play. And Kenny was the same sort of thing.
Right.
But no, I was very blessed with the different managers and coaches that I did.
You talk about football with a smile on your face, and I absolutely love it. I can see why you do the after dinner circuit, because you obviously got a bit of the gift of the gab there, haven't you, to be able to talk and enjoy what you're talking about as well.
Well, I think it's nice you to say that, but I'm passionate. I've been passionate I'm still passionate about things. I mean, as I said to you guys before, I'm up in the north of Scotland. I've been here locked in for 5-6 weeks with my mum, which has not been well. And every day I'm out on my bike. I get out on my bike every day. I walk every day because we're allowed to up here. We're allowed to all over the country. But I'm passionate about still playing 90 minutes on a Sunday if it's back in Lytham, or if it's for a Sunday league team back in Blackburn, Moorgate, who's now Poppy May. It's an open league. I'm 54. I'm playing against 21-year-olds. Bring it on.
I love that.
Bring it on. I can't get enough of it.
We've got some quick fire questions.
The downside would be is that one morning I'm waking up and I can't walk, I can't run. So I'm quite happy that. And listen, I've drank and gambled and I've done other things that's not right in life, but I'm still here, and I still keep fit, and I'm healthy. My family's healthy, and you've got to be positive, you know. And it's a difficult time for the whole country as well as at the minute, because this pandemic, and nobody really knows how it's going to go for the next few weeks. But you just got to get up every day and be as positive as you can.
Right, really right attitude. Make sure the fitness is key as well. You're looking good, Carl. I'm not surprised the 21-year-olds, they're probably running around you. You probably need to stand in the middle of the pitch and just pass it around.
Well, they run round me, but I just put my hand on my head like that, so they can't go any further.
Some quick fire questions for you. Right, I've had one come in from Facebook. Mark Jones has asked, have you got the yellow away shirt we wore once at Arsenal? Now, this yellow away shirt, I don't know if there's a bit of a thing about City shirts and old kits. Now, City played in this kit once. Do you know which kit I'm talking about, Dan? We played away at Arsenal. Yeah. Never seen again. So if you ever look in your loft, you might be able to make some cash there.
No. The one shirt I've got, my brother's shirt, the one shirt I've got is a good fan, a big fan of Man City, Mark McCarthy. He's in his shirt. I don't know if you know Mark.
Yeah.
Mark, he's tried to buy it off me. He's not getting it. He's staying.
I don't blame you. Dan, you had a couple of questions, didn't you, pal?
Yeah, well, to be honest, a lot of them we've sort of gone through, but I've got two. So I'll start off on a lighter one. Colin, if you could name 5 players to go on a night out with in the prime, and it's a £10 minimum, who would it be?
City players.
5 ex-City players to go on where? On a night out?
On a night out, yeah. But it's £10 minimum. It's no
£10 minimum. Oh,
yeah.
Love that.
In my era, well, that's dead easy. You've got Howard Kendall and Peter Reid. That's for a kick-off. Wayne Clark, Mark Wardy, Adrian Heath. All
decent.
Liverpool, Everton related, but listen, the social side of Man City when Howard and Reedy was there, unbelievable. It's never been repeated. I've never been at a club it's been done it as well as. And when I think when I got to City we were 3rd or 4th bottom, and when I left I think we were 3rd or 4th top. So that says a lot.
That says an awful lot.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with the any of the City squad on a regular basis. I suppose you don't really on a regular basis, do you? Or is there anyone that you keep friends with or anything like that?
Well, I'm on a WhatsApp group, and on that group we've got Asa Hartford, we've got Peter Barnes, we've got the guy that if they have a Legends game, Derek Partridge is in there, Derek, and because I'm reasonably fit, I always get a shout, always get a game sort of thing. So, but it's good that with these things, these mobile phones and iPhones and stuff, you can literally just reach somebody at the touch of a button. And that is the good thing about having these, because, for example, at this minute in time, how the world is, if you're on your own, it must be extremely lonely. Yeah. Extremely lonely. But with WhatsApp, and then you've got what we're doing tonight, you guys, with Zoom, you know. I mean, on Saturday night, I have a quiz to play Saturday night. I've got ex-player Gavin McCann, who was at Bolton, Everton, Sunderland. Gav's in there. Mickey Mellon, manager at Tranmere. Mickey's in the quiz. David Moyes in the quiz. So we'll see on the boy. We'll see about Trevor Sinclair, ex-City.
Yeah.
Trev.
Big
Trev's going to be in it as well.
Big City fan.
So I'll see all the boys on Saturday night. So and this is the beauty of technology and everything else these days, you know. So I do see and keep in contact a lot with a lot of the lads.
Brilliant, that's great. This is a really serious question now, obviously from Keith. Kinnock Park or Main Road? Silence. Silence. That was a good question.
Kyneth Park is
Thank you.
literally. If I was to go out the door here, just to the right, and go to the end of the lane, and in my heyday, I had a proper filled up tube ball, I might be able to kick it and it would reach Kyneth Park. But it's got to be Main Road. It's got to be Main Road. Got to be Main Road. I mean, Kyneth Park's here. I mean, it's in my heart. It's always going to be it. But Main Road for me was, you know, that atmosphere that I played in at Main Road. Oh goodness me, unbelievable. Especially that 3-3 draw and just wow. And I'm not talking about the celebration. The celebration in the 3-3 was not intentional. It was nothing to do with anything else at any other football club. It was just I just took it in my head to do what I did, and I did it. But Main Road.
Look at you smiling about it now. Brilliant. I love it. I love it, Colin. Listen, this is the last. We're running short of time, aren't we? I'm very conscious. Dan, do you have any more questions, or can I ask one more?
You go ahead, mate.
Right. This one's not from me. This was somebody from Twitter. If you could go back to Euro '96, would you consider just wiping out Gaza and taking the booking?
Well, you see, Euro '96, it wasn't well. The goal itself, and I've got to throw this back to you guys because you guys are English. It had to be England's greatest ever footballer to do that to me. You couldn't. Nobody else would be able to do that except England's greatest footballer. So that's up to you guys to discuss between yourself if Gaza is England's greatest ever footballer. But I blame Yuri Geller.
Oh, he did
it's Yuri Geller's fault because he moved the ball before Gary McAllister took the penalty and he missed it. And the morning after in the press, the front page was Yuri Geller. I moved the ball. Look, anyone listening here tonight, go back and look in the archives. Go back and look, or Google it. Yuri Geller.
Now you've said it, I remember it very well. But listen. Listen, it was a great goal. Gaza's goal was a great goal. If we'd scored a penalty, that would have made it 1-1. We might have gone and might have even gone and scored a second goal. We were in the ascendancy at that point in the game. We missed the penalty, got up the other end of the park and Gaza scores. And I'd already been booked anyway. So if I'd taken him out and got beat 1-0, for example, then I wouldn't have played the Switzerland game, in which we won 1-0. And I've got to say, England did their best by beating Holland 4-0. But I can't congratulate David Seaman for letting the goal in that made it 4-1 because that was a goal that put Scotland out. And it wasn't really, it was their own fault. Well, we're going to run out of time very soon, but I just want to say thank you very much for tonight. I really appreciate the time, and you've gone down, and you've just raised my level of thinking about you about tenfold. Thank you very much for the time, and really appreciate it.
I know we're wrapping up, but could I just ask one more question?
You've not got long, pal. Go on.
Just quick, Colin. You know, you've been so passionate about football and your career and everything. How did you find it when you had to stop playing and retire from professional football? I know you said you still have a kick about now, but what was it like when you had to actually hang your boots up?
Well, I wasn't your stereotypical footballer that finished football and then had to think about things, the afterlife of being a footballer. Because the situation had deteriorated a bit, about a year and a half before I finished, when my late wife took seriously ill. And I was more or less taken up with that. And that was always going to be an issue for me or the family because she needed to be looked after, sort of thing. So when you look at all the different issues that people have got to go through these days, and people coming out of that sort of situation where you're pretty much idolised. You know, I mean, and even now I'm quite well. I'm 6 foot. Not got long blonde hair anymore, but I'm easily identifiable when you go into anywhere you want to go, and it just you be nice. But it's nice to be identified. Don't get me wrong, and it's the best thing about it. It's nice to be nice. You know, I often said it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice back. That's the way I've seen life. But for me, it wasn't your stereotypical way of having to deal with it in a certain way that most footballers have got to deal with that in modern day football now. What I would say is that the top players don't have to worry too much, because if the average player in the Premiership at this minute in time is earning 60 grand a week, then you know that's 3 million per annum. So if you play, let's say 3 years, you're making 10 million quid on or a kick in the backside just off it, sort of thing. So you're not going to have any financial worries. But no, I adapted and you know, I tried the coaching. I did all my badges. I managed Blackpool for a spell. I managed Clyde in Scotland for a spell. I went back to Blackburn Rovers as first team coach and as under 21 coach. And you know, I've not lost any opportunity, or I've not lost any appetite for in case the opportunity comes back up. But when you're a bit withdrawn, when you're withdrawn from the game for quite a long time, people forget about you. People do actually forget about you. But so the next best thing for me is, or the best thing for me anyway is to play the game. The next best thing is to be involved in the game. The next best thing is to talk about the game. So I've you know, that's how I see things. The biggest problem I've got at this minute in time in my life is that there's no footy on the telly. You know, I mean, we're watching Belarusian footy or Chagistan, wherever it's from, footy. That's only 2 areas I think that showed football at this minute in time. But no, I didn't. I was occupied with different things in and around the period that I finished playing my career, which wasn't easy, wasn't difficult, because in Bill Shankly's words, you know, football's more important than life itself. Well, it's not. You know, life is the most, and again, at this minute in time where we are with this pandemic and everything else is going on, you know, there's going to be people that's going to die, that people, you know, from 1 week to the next will think they're okay, and the next week they're not here. And that's what people have got to deal with. But, you know, I enjoyed my career. I love my career. I wouldn't change my career for anything. You know, I mean, what I've achieved, I won the Premiership in England. I scored a winning goal in a cup final at Wembley. You guys might be, not the Zenith data, but the full Members' Cup. We beat Blackburn beat Charlton in 1987. I was only at the club 2 weeks. 40,000 at the game, 30,000 from Blackburn, 10,000 from Charlton, and we win 1-0, score 3 minutes before the end as a striker. So there's not a lot of Scotsmen can say they scored a winning goal in the cup final at Wembley. So that's me and Kenny in the European Cup when we scored against Bruges, I think, for Liverpool. And you know, I won the treble with Rangers. Didn't touch on Rangers too much tonight. But won the treble with Rangers and win the league at Parkhead. So again, cannot get any sweeter than that. You know, as Rangers and Celtic go, two of the biggest clubs in Britain, doesn't get any bigger than that. And then probably the icing on the cake would have been to captain Scotland in the World Cup '98, walking out against Brazil, and I think in front of a viewing public of 3 billion people. That's a lot, isn't it? It's how you can put everything into words, you know. But listen, lads, I've enjoyed tonight. I've had a great time tonight, and but I can't emphasise enough how great it was to play for Man City. I didn't have, apart from leaving, I didn't have a bad time at all. I didn't have, and everybody at the football club was just absolutely brilliant. Looked after me so much.
No, thanks so much, and it's testament to you as well, because I've spoken to a couple of my family friends. I go to City with my dad and my uncle, so I'm talking to Colin Hendry, and they go, "Oh, brilliant, great player," and that is testament from nearly every City fan I've spoken to who's mentioned that you're coming on, pal. So it's seen both ways. I assure you about that.
Brilliant, love it. Yeah. I mean, listen, when I go back to the club, I always get received ever so well. Absolutely unbelievable, and that's one part of my career that I definitely wouldn't change.
If you get down to the Etihad, you'd send me a text and I'll buy you a couple of pints. I'd absolutely love that.
Well, I'll be driving, Tom, and if I'm driving there, I've done all that before, so I can't do it.
Bless you. Good man. Listen, thanks so much again, Colin. Really appreciate it. Have a lovely evening.
All right, all the best, guys.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Thanks a lot, Colin. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.